On the day his first love returned, my husband threw a check at me. 1 million. Divorce. In my previous life, I thought he was insulting me, so I tore up the check and walked away empty-handed. In this life, I stuck out one finger, 100 million. Missing even a single cent would be disrespecting true love. David Fu's face darkened. Sofia, don't push your luck. I immediately said to Catherine, who was standing beside him, Catherine, this man isn't worth keeping. He won't even spare a measly billion. Clearly he thinks you don't deserve that price tag. Catherine shot me a glance and turned her bitter gaze toward David. David, a man of pride, glared at me. Deal. 100 million. But the divorce happens after the company secures that project. Until then, you are forbidden from any conduct that might tarnish my reputation. I vaguely remembered that in my past life, there was a project directly tied to the Fu Group's future development, which David took very seriously. I nodded to show my understanding, then held up a finger again. Make it another 100 million. The veins on David's forehead bulged. Sofia, do you even have any shame? Catherine joined in. Sofia, one should know their place. Do you even deserve that much? I exclaimed, what? Are you saying the title of Mrs. Fu isn't worth 200 million? As for dignity, did David care about his when he was screwing around with Catherine? Their faces darkened, with their eyes smoldering. Ah, don't be shy. I know all about your little sparks and flames. Rest assured, once the money hits my account, I'll be your love bodyguard pronto. David was furious. Sofia, where's your backbone? How dare you throw away your dignity just for money? I was wrong about you. I thought you had that pride and were different from those gold-digging women. Huh. You're no better than them. There was a huge gap between my family background and David's. Everyone said I didn't deserve him, called me a scheming bitch and gold digger, and insisted I was only after his money. In order to uphold my pride and dignity, apart from essential living expenses, I firmly refused to accept a single cent from David and never took the initiative to ask for luxury items. Although I was married to a CEO, I was still toiling away at a job paying 3,000 yuan a month. Looking back now, I was the number one F-king dumbass in the entire world. I dug into my ear. David, make sure the payment hits my account tomorrow. Not a single cent less, okay? As I spoke, I took out a box of male enhancement pills from my bag and thrust it into Catherine's hands. Catherine, his performance means your satisfaction. Hilarious. Who would want to see such a young CEO needing male enhancement pills? I, an orphan with no background, was able to marry David Fu entirely due to my face that closely resembled Catherine's. But I didn't know that then I simply believed true love had descended like Cinderella's. It wasn't until Catherine came back from abroad, stormed into my house, slapped me, and stepped on my fingers while snarling, "You counterfeit, how dare you stand next to David?" That was when I realized I had been someone else's substitute for 3 years. 3 years ago, Catherine refused to get married and fled abroad in a fit of pique with David. In a fit of anger, David chose to marry me as a stand-in solely to provoke Catherine. They were caught in a game of pride, while I gave my real heart. I refused to divorce and tried every way to save our marriage, acting submissively in all matters, begging David to look upon our 3 years of affection and not to go through with the divorce, not to leave me. But instead, he threw a check at me and said, "We were once husband and wife. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. With your current salary, it would take you over 30 years without eating or drinking to save up 1 million. I'm being more than generous with you." I refused to take it and cried, saying that he was insulting both my dignity and the love I had for him. Catherine rolled her eyes. "You're clearly after David's money. Stop playing innocent." With my eyes red from crying, I said to David, "David, I truly love you. I'll prove it to you." I tore up the check and walked away from the marriage with nothing. To make a living, I worked a day job and delivered takeout at night. In the end, due to a takeout order with an extra 5 yuan delivery fee, I was driving while exhausted and got hit by a semi-truck on the spot, sent flying through the air. After I died, my soul drifted over to where David was. I wanted to see if David would feel guilty and remorseful when he learned how I died, and whether he'd weep brokenly for me. After all, I was such a kind and pure little girl, not after his money, but loving the man himself. Unfortunately, I was mistaken. My death only earned a 10-second pause from him, then he put away his phone and took Catherine to an evening gala. I was so angry that my soul died a second time. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself reborn back to the exact day he proposed divorce. Fine, since you don't want the naive girl, I'll show you what a gold digger looks like. Early the next morning, I got a payment notification. But when I saw the amount, my face immediately twisted into a scowl. It was only 5 million. I called David and demanded, "What the hell is this supposed to mean?" David said, "What if you don't keep your word and ruin my reputation once you take the money? Sofia, this project is crucial. I've accommodated your requests, and can't you see where I'm coming from? Alright? Fine. I get it. Alright then, Mr. Fu. Write me an IOU specifying the repayment date, alright? If you miss the deadline, you'll be charged interest at the bank loan rate, okay?" There was silence on the other end. After a long pause, David spoke again. "Sofia, when did we get so formal? You used to just call me David." "Alright, David, write me an IOU. Gotta specify the repayment date, 'kay? If you miss it, interest gets tacked on per the bank's loan rates, got it?" The breathing on the other end noticeably quickened, and finally David gritted his teeth. "Sofia, don't push it. Oh my god, Mr. Fu isn't trying to weasel out of paying, is he? I have a recording of our little chat from yesterday, just so you know. Actually, marital infidelity isn't such a big deal really, but you know, if people find out Mr. Fu needs male enhancement pills already at his young age." "Oh dear." David snarled, "Shut your mouth. You'll get the damn IOU when I'm good and ready." He hung up the phone furiously. This feels so good. How come I didn't realize in my previous life that he was such a scheming man? Well, a man who would marry a substitute couldn't be a good man. Trying to play the emotional card to cheat me out of my money? Dream on. After waiting for 3 days, the IOU still hadn't come. I couldn't wait any longer and went straight to his company to confront him. What a coincidence. Catherine was there. 3 buttons of her white shirt were undone as she perched on the desk, looping her arms around David's neck. When I pushed the door open, honestly, I was the more awkward one. Oh. The door wasn't locked, so I walked in. "In that case, I'll return once you two have finished." "No rush, David. Take your sweet time. I can wait." I hastily retreated and even considerately pulled the door shut for them. 5 minutes later, Catherine walked out with heavy resentment, shot me a daggered look, and warned in a low voice, "Sofia, David is mine, you won't be able to take him back." I immediately pulled her close and sobbed, "Catherine, you're misunderstanding me. I want to leave, but it's David who's refusing. I'm terrified too. What if he changes his mind and won't let me divorce him? Catherine, please talk him into letting me get the money and get out of here." Through my tears, I seized the chance to smear snot on her pricey fur coat. Catherine's face turned livid. "Why you? Just go away." "Alright then, I'll leave." At least I succeeded in grossing her out. I figured it out. Instead of taking revenge and fighting with her, it's better to go crazy and drive her nuts. In the office, David's face looked very grim, with dark circles beneath his eyes. I couldn't help but remark, "David, do remember to take your male enhancement pills on time." David's expression darkened, a flicker of irritation in his eyes. "What brings you to the company?" "I'm here to have you write the IOU." "Sofia, don't go too far. Do you really think I'd run?" I said seriously, "David, I wasn't worried before, but seeing you like this." Sigh, a man's stamina is limited in his lifetime. You need to pace yourself. David slammed his hand on the table, "Get the hell out." I pointed at the ground. "Here, roll like a ball." "Got it." I covered my head and rolled to the door, then rolled back again, grinning. "Was that good enough, David? If so, write the IOU." "Thanks. If not, I can go roll 2 more laps outside. Endure the bitterest of the bitter to become the highest of the high." When I stepped out of the company building, looking at the IOU clutched in my hand, I felt all the troubles were worth it. The madness tactic works wonders. Half a month later, during the group's 10th anniversary celebration, David requested me to accompany him to the event. I agreed readily. Sure. But the dresses, shoes, jewelry for the gala, and those little expenses like facial treatments and pedicures, they all count as Mr. Fu's responsibility. They're legitimate work-related costs, okay? In my previous life, I was so afraid of being called a gold digger that I couldn't even bring myself to dress properly. Whenever accompanying him to events, my only goal was to avoid mistakes, never to shine. It's different now, after all, we're getting divorced. Since he's paying, I'll buy whatever I need and enjoy what I can while I can. Enjoying alone isn't as fun, so I called my girlfriend Olivia. My Olivia, the one I wronged the most in my past life. Olivia is also an orphan. We grew up together in the orphanage and are closest to each other in this world. When Olivia learned I was getting a divorce, she came up with all sorts of plans for me. She even hired a private detective to help collect evidence of David's marital infidelity, in hopes of securing my rights as much as possible. But I handed over the evidence to David. Just to prove to David that I loved him even though I had the evidence, I couldn't bear to ruin him. Deep down, I hoped David would be shocked, touched, have an epiphany, and beg me to reconcile, staging that heart-wrenching chasing the wife to the crematorium drama. Splendid. He did come after me, the kind where he tried to drive me out of the house with a stick. Because of this, David held a grudge against Olivia, resulting in her losing her job. Olivia scolded me for being stupid, called me a love-obsessed fool, and said I deserved to be dumped by David. I was so angry that I shouted at her, "Is it wrong to truly love someone?" We parted on bad terms and had no contact until my death. But when I got into a car accident, Olivia was the first to arrive and claim my body, then cremate and bury me. That day, I was right beside her, listening to her cry and call me a love-addled fool, through tears as she burned Joss paper. After all the scolding, choked by sobs, she stammered through tears, "Sofia, please come back. I'll never scold you again." Later, to avenge me, Olivia exposed David's marital affair with Catherine online, denounced Catherine, who was aspiring to enter the entertainment industry, as a mistress, and even filed a real name report against the Fu Corporation for tax evasion, causing their stock prices to plummet. David developed a hatred for Olivia, paid off some men to kidnap her to a remote wilderness, and ruined her purity. With no one to turn to for help and overwhelmed by anguish, Olivia intentionally ran over David and Catherine with her car, then surrendered to the authorities and was imprisoned. Olivia, it's all my fault that I caused your suffering. Don't worry. This time I will never disappoint you. When Olivia learned that I was going to take her shopping with David's money, she was so shocked that she insisted on taking me to see a master to check if I'd been possessed. I had to save 2 months' salary to buy Olivia a gold bracelet worth several thousand yuan as a birthday gift. Looking at the supplementary card in my hand, I sighed. I was young and clueless back then. Now I know better. Olivia hugged me and cried tears of joy. I finally have a wealthy bestie. Spend it all. That scum used you as a replacement. My Sofia's youth is worth way more than the petty cash in his pockets. That afternoon, we treated money like dirt. We spent it however looked pretty, however felt comfortable, so damn satisfying. But to our surprise, we ran into Catherine. Seeing me and Olivia laden with shopping bags, Catherine eyed us disdainfully. "So, you were after David's money all along, you gold digger. Not only greedy for money, but even splurging on your charity cases. Sofia, it's not easy for David to earn money. Did David agree to you using his money to buy things for nobodies?" "Oh, what? Do you really take David for a cash cow and a sucker? Go, return those things." Olivia shot back, "Yo, even the proper wife isn't qualified? Then who is? You, the homewrecker? Let me check what you've got there." As she spoke, Olivia grabbed at the bags in Catherine's hands, and a black card fell out, David's signature on the back. "Oh my God, a diamond watch worth over 1,000,000 yuan. Sofia, call the police right now. This was purchased with your marital assets." Catherine shoved Olivia away in fury. "Who's the mistress?" "The one who's not loved is the mistress. June settled everything with her. What right does she have to spend his money?" Olivia was still going to argue with her. I held Olivia back, slapped myself across the face, then dropped to my knees wailing. "Catherine, I was wrong. As a wife, how could I ever spend my husband's money? All his money should be left for Catherine to spend. I'm guilty, I don't deserve to live, I'll go die right now, oh. With a loud cry, I instantly drew the attention of everyone around. Olivia is indeed my best friend, although stunned, her acting never missed a beat. Oh heavens, there's no justice. The wife is even getting scolded by the mistress for using her husband's money. Is this the moral collapse or the distortion of human nature? Bystanders quickly jumped in to enjoy the drama, while others started filming away. It's so hilarious. David only ever insisted his reputation must stay intact, he never said anything about protecting Catherine S. Anyway, we're in sporty outfits with no makeup. Put on some makeup tomorrow and who could tell? But not Catherine. In that polished getup, she's easy to spot. Sure enough, Catherine was so terrified by the scene that she snatched up the card and bolted, dropping several designer handbags in her panic-stricken escape without even noticing. I immediately dashed to pick them up. Brand new authentic items. They'd be a breeze to sell. I turned around and saw that Olivia was still staring at me in bewilderment. Oh no. Did my crazy act scare Olivia? Oh. I won't act crazy anymore. Olivia snapped back to reality, shaking her head vigorously with sparkling eyes. No, 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 Sofia. I super love it when you go crazy. As I expected, David called that evening to confront me about causing a scene at the mall. I took a photo of myself lying in the hospital bed and sent him, saying weakly and plaintively, David, my conscience is clear. In 3 years of marriage, have I ever asked you for a single luxury item? Have I ever bought even one Chanel piece? Today, Catherine came at me calling me a gold digger, accused me of chasing your money. I can't live like this, I just can't. Heaven's my witness, what I cherish is you, your very soul. I was so frightened that I might not be discharged anytime soon. David snapped impatiently, what about the anniversary celebration? I coughed a few times and rasped, Mr. Fu wouldn't expect his wife to attend while bedridden, would he? What if my feverish rambling exposes certain truths? Let Catherine go instead. Cough, she's more beautiful and diplomatic than I'll ever be. Weak chuckle, who cares about gossip? After all, true love conquers all. With that, I made to hang up. 5 million more, David gritted his teeth, come with me to the anniversary celebration. We'll divorce immediately after the project is finalized. I immediately perked up, so this 5 million is cash up front? You know my bank account, right? Noted as a gift. Sofia, you're vicious. A few minutes later, 5 million yuan was credited to my bank account. I posted on WeChat moments, even being sick can't keep me from loving my job. In the blink of an eye, the anniversary gala arrived. When I descended the stairs unhurriedly in a haute couture gown, I noticed David's gaze falter momentarily. Sure enough, men are creatures who think with their dicks. Now I've moved out of his villa and into Olivia's place. Come to think of it, we haven't seen each other for over half a month. In my previous life, I was so busy making tonic soups for him that I never even bothered to doll myself up properly. When I really dress up, in Olivia's words, this curvy figure of ours is far superior compared to Catherine's flatboard. I took David's arm and stepped onto the stage, smiling as I listened to his speech, watching him gaze at me affectionately while playing the role of the devoted husband. In that fleeting moment, I was reminded of the joy we once shared at the beginning of our relationship. At that time, he would cook porridge for me when I had gastroenteritis, spend the whole afternoon doing crafts with me on my birthday, and blush while saying I love you to me on New Year's Eve. My relationship with him was never about money. That's why I firmly believed he approached me with sincerity, not as some wealthy playboy's fleeting amusement. Unfortunately, those beautiful moments were but a reflection of the moon in the water. His beloved moon hung in the sky. Never mind, he gazes up at his bright moon, while I'm busy collecting my cash. After the speech concluded, everyone began to mingle. David dragged me into a storage room. Sofia, you're coming home tonight. 3 years as husband and wife, there's always some tacit understanding. Looking at his restless demeanor, could it be that Catherine isn't satisfying him? Does the esteemed Mr. Fu still desire my company? David nodded stiffly. Deal. 5 million for one night. David was shaking with anger. Sofia, Are you really that shameless? 5 million for one night? Who do you think you are? We're husband and wife. That's how it should be. These words made my blood boil. David, you should know, why should a wife satisfy your needs unconditionally and for free? What have you given me? A dowry? A car? A house? You've given me none of that. You only gave me a marriage certificate that could be voided whenever you wanted. When you put it that way, what does my title as Mrs. David even amount to? David's face turned livid with anger, and he spat out good, 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 3 times in a row. Sofia, if it weren't for your resemblance to Catherine, do you think a woman like you would ever catch my eye? I gave you a chance. Blame yourself for not appreciating it. You won't lay a finger on me ever again. Wow, what a blessing I should be burning incense for. I clasped my hands together piously. Finally, I don't have to put up with a man who needs Shinbao pills anymore. David's defenses crumbled, face darkened, he stormed off in a rage. After putting up with some of the society ladies, I found a quiet corner by the swimming pool. A shawl suddenly descended around my shoulders. I turned my head, and a strikingly handsome face came into view. Miss, you don't want to catch a cold? I smell a conspiracy brewing. Sure enough, after I added him on WeChat, this boy named Henry started sending me messages every now and then. He didn't say much, just basic good mornings and good nights. Sometimes he would send photos of his outfits and ask what I thought. But he really liked posting on his moments. For example, he would take a photo of the contrails in the sky and caption it, "I wonder what sister is doing at this moment." Or he would take a photo of a garden full of roses and write, "Even the most vibrant roses in the entire garden cannot compare to your glance over your shoulder, sister." Or he would take a photo of the hazy moonlight and caption it, "If I could admire the moon with sis, I'd be so happy I'd turn into a silly little fool." Finally, on my birthday, he called me and asked timidly if he could take me out to dinner. This request seemed a bit abrupt, inconsistent with his shy and reticent demeanor as a young man. But I said yes. The dinner was arranged at the garden club. The sun was warm, he wore a white shirt, the breeze stirred the strands of hair on his forehead as he stood bathed in sunlight, smiling and waving at me. This inexplicably reminded me of David from back then. "Jia, happy birthday." He handed me a bouquet of flowers. I was a bit surprised. "How did you know it's my birthday today?" He smiled mysteriously, "Because sister is in my heart." I smiled wordlessly, accepting the bouquet from his hands. His warm fingertips almost imperceptibly brushed against the back of my hand. Seeing I didn't resist, he grew more daring and poured red wine into 2 glasses. "Sister, I wish you eternal youth, health, and happiness." I took the glass of wine, swirled the wine in the cup, and smiled self-deprecatingly. I never thought there would still be someone who would remember my birthday. "Are you not happy, elder sister?" he said with concern. "Can you tell me what's wrong? I don't want to see you sad." I started to speak but trailed off with a sigh. Sigh, how can a wealthy family marriage ever be summed up in just a few words? He fell silent for a moment, then burst into a big smile. "Don't worry, Jia. Henry is here with you. Henry knows that being the CEO's wife may seem glamorous, but it's actually quite grueling. That day at the banquet, I saw the weariness in your shoulders, and I couldn't suppress the urge to shelter you from life's storms. I know this is unreasonable, and I know I can't compare to Mr. Fu. I don't seek any status, and I don't even dare to dream of anything lasting. I just want to stay by your side, be your little dog, and make you happy." My eyes glimmered. "You'd shield me from the wind and rain, really?" He raised 3 fingers. "I swear it's truer than truth." "Then V me 1 million yuan first." "Sister, I'm quite thrifty, 1 million a month is enough." Henry's bright smile suddenly cracked, thunderstruck. "Sister, why do you have to break my heart like this? I don't have 1 million yuan, I only have a heart that loves you and is willing to risk my life for you. But just because I don't have it now doesn't mean I won't in the future. I'll prove to you, sister, that I can provide for you. When that day comes, will I finally deserve to call you Sofia? Let us toast to our tomorrow, sister, wish me luck." I put down my wine glass and covered my face, wailing. "Henry, I'm deeply moved. I've lost my composure. Please turn your back to me for a moment." He stepped forward. You can lean on my shoulder, sis. I shook my head. No, please let me keep some dignity. I never thought I could still encounter true love in this lifetime. Let me just cry for a minute, okay? Please. Unable to resist my request, Henry turned away. After a minute, I had him turn around, then lifted the glass of wine with a tearful gaze. Henry, let's toast to our bright future. When he saw me take a drink, Henry's eyes lit up with a glint of eagerness, the exact look I had whenever spotting stacks of cash. After downing a glass of wine, I felt dizzy and collapsed to one side. Henry quickly caught me and whispered in my ear, feeling dizzy, sis? There's a bed inside. Let me help you rest a while. His tone was that of a question, yet his actions carried none of the hesitation. After throwing me onto the bed, he immediately pulled out a camera from the nightstand and trained it on me. I wasn't alarmed lying on the bed. I said coolly, Henry, you're playing really wild, huh? Aren't you scared, sis? What's there to be afraid of? I rested my head on my hand and said, now that I'm here, do you think that kind of thing would be left out? You'd better please me well, and I'm not sure you have what it takes. Henry panicked. Why, you aren't afraid of Mr. Fu finding out? So what if he finds out? Since when can't I get some action elsewhere when he can't perform? You know how rich couples roll. Alright, Henry, stop pretending. You're just lusting after my body and money, aren't you? Relax, sis is short on people around her. Do well, and you'll get your reward from me. But looking at your scrawny, underwhelming figure, you wouldn't fetch much. 500 a night. How's that? Take off your clothes. Let me inspect the goods first, see if you're worth 500. Henry's face visibly darkened. Finally, when I doubted he was even worth 500, he raged. Gia, you're really messing with me here. My listed price starts at 100K per night. For this job, David paid me $1 million. And you dare offer 500? Dream on. What? I gasped in shock. David actually paid you $1 million? Is he out of his mind? Do you even deserve $1 million? No way. This can't be happening. David's not that clueless, you're definitely lying. You're not worth half that, you're full of it. Who's bragging? I'll show you the transfer record David gave me, huh? Henry, agitated, shoved his phone right in my face. Open your eyes wide and take a good look. I'm worth $1 million yuan. Oh my god, David actually gave you $1 million yuan? What's he giving you that much for? Of course, he had me coax you into committing adultery within the marriage. Henry suddenly covered his mouth, his expression panicked. Why, you weren't drugged? How did you get me to talk? I giggled coquettishly, because you're dumb, obviously. He thought his trick of pouring wine behind my back and slipping the powdered drug hidden in his sleeve into the drink could fool me? Did he really think throwing me a birthday party would make me grateful? How laughable. Someone like me, who's neither a love-struck fool nor a doormat, would only question his hidden agenda, you know? I smashed the cup as a signal. The next second, Olivia charged in with a beer bottle. Henry was tied to a chair by Olivia and me. Under Olivia's threat to bash his head, he confessed the entire story. Sure enough, as I had suspected, he was sent by David to trap me into an affair. Once the business deal was sealed, they could pin the blame of marital infidelity on me and force me to leave with nothing. In the face of ironclad evidence, even if I presented the previous recordings and produced the IOU written by David, they could still insist that I forged them. I was fuming as I listened. I knew David was a scumbag, but I never imagined he'd stoop to such shameless depths. After all, I was his wife who had shared a bed with him for 3 years. To avoid giving me money, he actually hired someone to set me up. I was so pissed I should have gone along with him that night and cut off his dick while he was asleep. Olivia said she wanted to call the police, but I stopped her. With David's network of connections, it would be useless for us to call the police, just like in my previous life when Olivia's call to the police came to nothing. I took the beer bottle and tapped the trembling Henry. Henry, want to make a couple $1,000,000? Henry's eyes immediately lit up. Is there such a good thing? To be a mole? Smartass, you caught on quick. I nodded. Help me deceive David and make him think I fell into the trap. Under the pretext of our romantic relationship, get money from him. Split whatever we obtain 50-50, and I'll give you another $1,000,000 afterward. I waved my phone. No funny business, your confession's all on video. Reporting to the police won't get David arrested, but getting you locked up. That takes just one word. What are you talking about? Henry suddenly declared righteously, how could I go against Daddy? In front of me, Henry sent David a few photos of me lying on the bed. To make the act convincing, I holed up at Olivia's place without stepping outside for the next few days. Henry, on the other hand, would hold a bouquet of flowers every day without fail and gaze up at the windows from downstairs. Finally, on a stormy night, I took an umbrella downstairs and brought Henry, who was drenched like a drowned rat, back upstairs. The next day, we set off on a European trip together, with Olivia, sporting oversized sunglasses, tagging along behind us. Henry updated David with our daily whereabouts, sent along photos and videos of us holding hands, and nonchalantly requested travel allowance. David grudgingly handed over 500,000 yuan, instructing us to stick to less crowded and budget-friendly locations. The reason was that he feared we would attract too much attention and reveal my status as Mrs. Fu. During the period when the project was being finalized, I, the so-called Mrs. David, couldn't afford any scandals to surface. Well, 500,000 yuan is a bit tight, but we'll manage. In the blink of an eye, a month passed, and the collaboration project was officially confirmed. I saw David's interview on the financial news regarding the project. In no time, the project was confirmed. When David called and told me to come back, the three of us were on the island enjoying the sunshine, sandy beaches, and chiseled abs. Upon hearing this, we scurried back home. In wealthy families, there's no shortage of two things, money and banquets. Sure enough, to celebrate the finalized project collaboration, David hosted a celebration party. The guests at the banquet were his relatives, friends, and closely connected project partners. As soon as they saw me, David's relatives and friends contorted their faces in disgust, as if I were some biohazardous garbage. In my previous life, David married me against his family's objections. I felt deeply guilty and did everything I could to fit into his family. Although I didn't have money, I had sincerity. I wanted to win them over with love and kindness, to have them accept me. David's mother contracted some form of pneumonia. Even the nanny kept her distance, afraid of catching it. Only I stayed by her bedside day and night without undressing until she recovered. But after she recovered, she only uttered icily, "You're so clumsy, not even comparable to the maids scrubbing toilets in this house." At that time, I was heartbroken for a long time and kept questioning if there was something I had done wrong. But not long after, David's mother called and ordered me to care for his ailing aunt. I agreed with delight, believing this to be their acknowledgement and embrace of me. Until I accidentally overheard David's aunt talking to his mother over the phone. Just think of it as keeping an obedient dog. If David likes someone, he can just keep them on the side. We might as well keep this punching bag around, it's not like we can't afford an extra mouthful of dog food. Pet dog, their punching bag, a barely tolerated presence, dog food leftovers. So, in their eyes, I wasn't even human. No wonder they stopped opposing my marriage to David later, they only saw me as a pet. Fine, today you'll witness the wrath of a rabid pet. Catherine had also come, bringing gifts for everyone there. With me as the dog's tail contrast, Catherine from an equally prominent family naturally became the elder's favorite. David's mother playfully swatted Catherine's arm a few times and chided, "You ungrateful child. How could you abandon us and run off overseas all by yourself? If you hadn't run off back then, the child the two of you would be had would be 3 by now." Catherine glanced at me with feigned panic. "Auntie, you mustn't say that. Sofia might get her feelings hurt. What happened between David and me isn't anyone else's fault. It's just that I wasn't blessed with good fortune. As long as David is doing well, Catherine is content." David's mother glared at me. Seeing that I was busy eating and drinking, she grew even more furious. 3 years, and her belly still shows no sign. Useless, good for nothing. Eat, eat, eat. Is that all you can do? Were you a starving ghost in your past life? I quickly stuffed the last bite of cake into my mouth, grinning at her and spraying bits of cake everywhere. David's mother was instantly disgusted as if she'd seen poop, clapped a hand over her mouth, and jerked her head away. Hee, I successfully disgusted her. The banquet commenced. Following David's speech, he announced that a video outlining the project's future would be presented for everyone to envision together. I started clapping enthusiastically from the audience. Catherine shot me a scornful glance and hissed in a voice only audible to us two, "Sofia, you're done for." As I expected, the project video had been swapped. On the screen were photos of me in disheveled clothing, photos of me taking a man upstairs on a rainy day, and videos of me playing around with that man on the beach in a bikini. The entire room was in shock. David was the first to snap back to reality. He turned off the video and snapped furiously, "Who did this? Who fabricated these photos to defame my wife? This scoundrel is still feigning defense before the attack." Soon, a forensic team arrived. After inspection, those photos and videos were confirmed as raw, unedited footage. In other words, no one framed me, I was the one who cheated. The people who were standing by me immediately stepped back and kept a 3-meter distance, their faces filled with disdain. David clutched his chest and demanded heartbrokenly, "Sofia, I have loved you so deeply, why would you betray me? Is there something about me that's not good enough? Tell me, and I can change it." What a devoted domineering CEO act. In this way, whether he divorces or remarries, others will only sympathize with him and offer their blessings, all of which will serve as a boost to his career. I looked up at him, unable to fathom how the man before me, appearing so vulnerable and helpless right now, could harbor such sinister intentions within. Suddenly, that rainy night from 3 years ago came back to me. He stood downstairs at my house, begging me to be his girlfriend, his eyes so vulnerable and helpless that I immediately softened my heart, let down my guard, and allowed myself to believe in him and in a CEO romance novel. Unfortunately, my kindness and tender heart were in the end fed to the dogs. Recalling my tragic death in my previous life and Olivia's despair after being bullied with nowhere to turn, my heart froze completely. David, snap out of it. This woman isn't worth your efforts. David, divorce her and kick her out of the Fu family. You, from a poor backwater like you, managed to marry David thanks to your ancestors' blessings. How dare you betray him? I'll kill you. David's cousin jumped out and kicked at me. David immediately hugged me, and that kick landed squarely on his back. This escalated things terribly. Everyone felt David had been wronged and scolded me on his behalf, calling me an ungrateful wretch and a scheming bitch. David's mother was so angry that she even called him an idiot. Catherine's eyes were red from crying. "Sofia, brother David is so good, how could you have the heart to hurt him? Did you have an affair out of spite toward David because I returned, is that it?" I grew up with brother David. This time when I came back, he did help me with a small favor, but that was just a simple act of friendship. Brother David and I have been completely innocent from the start to the end, Sofia. If you hate me, Sofia, then I'll leave now. I only ask that you treat David well. I've already hurt him once before, and I'm begging you, please don't hurt him again. Many of those present were aware that David and Catherine had once been involved. Upon hearing her words, their hatred toward me grew even more intense, teeth clenched in bitter resentment. David's cousin shouted, "Catherine, if anyone should leave, it's her. You and David were meant to be together. If it hadn't been for that schemer blackmailing him, how could David have married her? David, divorce her. Our Fu family will never tolerate such morally tainted scum." David's cousin's words were met with a chorus of agreement, and everyone was shouting for David to divorce me. David shielded me behind him and said with anguish, "Please, everyone, don't harm Sofia. This situation, it's all my fault to have come to this point. Sofia, this is all my fault. I shouldn't have pressured you into marrying me back then. If freedom is truly what you desire, I will let you go. Let's get divorced." Phew, I finally said the line. To be honest, it's exhausting watching them put on this act. I nodded calmly. Will I still get my share of the property? Sofia, you cheated on your husband and still want a share? In your fucking dreams. The cousin was furious, and, we absolutely can't let this woman take a single cent from our Fu family. Sofia, you should be grateful we're letting you keep your dog's life. How dare you demand money? The cousin also joined in cursing. I'm really fed up with these two. Ever since I entered the Fu family, they've been on my case as if I was living off their dime. Are you two done yet? What the hell does it have to do with you if I split David's property? What, you want to act like David's kids and take a share of his property? Mind your own damn business. You're always pointing fingers at this family and that family. Who the hell do you think you are? To their surprise, I talked back. My male cousin and female cousin were so enraged they tried to strike me. But David shielded me in front of them, and they couldn't land a hit. Sofia, I'll give you the money, David said wearily. 5 million is enough for your lifetime. I waggled my finger. Nope, 200 million. Not a single cent less. 200 million, the entire room gasped. There was another round of cursing in the hall, but it didn't matter, they were just repeating the same old lines, accusing me of being money-obsessed, a gold digger, an ungrateful wretch, and the like. Lecturing me about morality in wealthy elite circles is absolutely hilarious. In this world, those with capital are the least moral. They believe they can dictate the world and dictate the entire lives of ordinary people. David, for the last time, are you giving me the 200 million or not? I demanded sternly. David turned his back to the others. From an angle they couldn't see, he glared at me menacingly and said, Sofia, if you committed adultery and take this to court, you won't get a single penny of the 5 million. Our eyes met, his gaze holding triumphant certainty. Good. I clapped. David, your social death package has been delivered. Please check it. I shattered the wine glass. The darkened screen lit up again. On the screen was Henry, tied to a stool, confessing all the details of how he had been bribed by David to drug me. Henry was sobbing like a rain-soaked pear blossom. I was just a decent male escort keeping to myself. David paid me $1 million to get close to you, to fabricate evidence of your affair during marriage. He wanted you thrown out penniless, not even a single cent could you take. Woo-woo, sister, please spare me. I heard Mr. Fu needs Shinbao pills just to keep it up, but I'm young and strong. Just say the word, and I'll please you right now. After the video came the recording from when I caught David and Catherine. In the recording, it was laid out plain as day. David and Catherine hooked up first, then he offered me 200 million to play along in keeping up his perfect husband act until he secured the project, after which we'd divorce. The Shinbao tablets made an appearance again. Finally, there was the recording of when I went to ask him to write the IOU, and the Shinbao tablets completely blew up. Such a reversal left everyone present both feasting on the juicy drama and utterly dumbstruck. David snapped out of his daze and frantically ordered someone to shut off the screen. But his men were pinned down by the bodyguards Olivia had planted in advance. Sofia, how dare you set me up? David flew into a rage. I shrugged and said innocently, David, I just want my 200 million. If you insisted on embracing social death, I'm afraid there's nothing I could do. Just then, the banquet hall door was burst open. David's assistant rushed in a panic. David, it's terrible. Our company's stock price has plummeted. 5 partners have announced they're cutting ties with us. David has been having a really hard time recently. What happened at the banquet would have originally remained confined to high society circles. Unexpectedly, Catherine, that utterly ruthless woman, schemed to destroy me completely while paving her own effortless path to power. She even stealthily organized a live broadcast of the banquet. When the livestream caught me cheating and shamelessly demanding 200 million yuan, netizens tore me to shreds online, even digging up ancestors who were complete strangers to me. But then, the situation took a dramatic turn. Feeling deceived, netizens swiftly redirected their fury toward David, bombarding him with scathing criticism. The incident quickly escalated. Several companies that had cooperated with the Fu Group immediately announced the suspension of cooperation. The Fu Group stock price plummeted, and furious investors blockaded the front of the Fu Group headquarters, holding banners and demanding explanations. As for the internet, hashtags like hashtag David's kidney tonic pills, hashtag is David up to it today, and hashtag David Year's best scheming heir remained on the hot search list for a week. A film and television company took the opportunity to release a short drama titled The Villainous Wife of CEO Fu, which raked in over 100 million yuan within 3 days of its launch. As the biggest sponsor of the short drama, a certain Shenbao tablets company saw its stock price soar. As for me? Just a run-of-the-mill short drama investor, and all I got was a mere tens of millions from the revenue split. Half a month later, based on the complete evidence chain, the court ordered David to compensate me 200 million yuan as stipulated in the IOU and pay for my mental distress damages. When David came to see me, his complexion looked rather pale. The business arena is ruthless. Countless rivals are salivating for the Fu family's downfall, eager to sink their teeth into a piece of the carcass. Well, without us even having to lift a finger, those pieces of evidence lurking in the shadows were brought to light, item by item. Tax evasion, asset diversion, gray market operations. It seems the Fu family might not survive this crisis. Sofia, I've been so wrong. David clutched my hand, his gaze fragile and shattered. It wasn't until you walked away that I understood I'd stopped loving Catherine long before. It's you I love. Let me make this right. Come back, please? I sneered. Do you love me, or do you love the 200 million yuan that I'm holding? David's expression stiffened. David, did you ever consider that if I hadn't stayed alert and uncovered your scheme, I'd be the desperate one here? Would you have helped me? No, you would have just clinked glasses with Catherine and celebrated your perfect plan and love. So why on earth should I help you? What the hell are you? David dropped the act, his eyes glaring with cold fury. Sofia, do you think you can take me down just because you've got a little money? I will rise again and leave you without a grave. I wiped the hand he'd touched with a towel, then smiled mockingly. Looking forward to it. A month later, the Fu conglomerate was liquidated, with rumors swirling that recovery was virtually impossible. Once I thought that a conglomerate like the Fu Group was impregnable, and that a mere mortal like me could only gaze up in awe. But in the face of the law, they're shit. Serves them right. Olivia and I went to view luxury penthouses. From afar, we heard a man and a woman shouting. Their voices sounded like old acquaintances. As we approached for a closer look, hey, it was indeed them. There stood Catherine dragging her luggage ready to depart, while David was refusing to let her go. David pleaded, Catherine, you promised you'd stay by my side no matter what. Catherine snapped impatiently, Jules, wake up already. If I hadn't heard you'd taken over, I was doing just fine abroad. Why the hell would I come back? David gritted his teeth, what's your meaning? Seeing I'm broke now, you want to dump me? Catherine, I ended up in this mess all for your sake. Catherine snapped, otherwise? Without the Fu Group, what would I want with you? Honestly, it's so damn uncomfortable to act like I'm enjoying this when I'm clearly miserable. How on earth did Sofia endure 3 years of this? Catherine, you bitch. David slapped her across the face. The two of them grappled and scuffled. Seeing things turning sour, I quickly opened the video app and went live. Olivia was very considerate. She called the property security guards and waited until the viewers had their fill of the spectacle before separating the two of them. Catherine, her hair disheveled, was desperate to make a quick escape. She even forgot our adversarial relationship and rushed toward me as if I were her salvation. 200 million is what you deserve, she blurted out breathlessly. This is utterly humiliating. Utterly humiliating. I never want to lay eyes on another Shenbao tablet for the rest of my life. Oh well, out of consideration for her uniquely out there mental state, I let it slide. David was sporting bruises, but upon seeing me, he put on a haughty expression. Sofia, what brings you here? I won't reconcile with you unless you beg me to. Olivia rolled her eyes and shoved him aside. We're here to purchase the apartment. Move. The property security staff smiled awkwardly, said, Mr. Fu, these two ladies are the ones who have purchased this penthouse. In the end, David resentfully sold the penthouse he had shared with Catherine. Otherwise, he would have to pay me the liquidated damages. Come to think of it, the money he used to buy this penthouse was from our marital property. Whatever, consider it poverty alleviation. Anyway, it's not like I need the money these days. As David signed his name on the contract, he gritted his teeth and told me, I'll be back. I nodded vigorously like pounding garlic. Next time, you'll meet an even worse end. I didn't care what happened to David afterward. Heard he ended up becoming a kept man by selling his looks. After getting a taste of success with short dramas, I decided to go all in and invest in producing them. Olivia and I started our own business as small bosses, making money hand over fist. After being detained for 15 days, Henry came to me saying he wanted to be the male lead in a short drama, but I turned him down. Henry, the entertainment industry isn't a trash can where any kind of trash can be stuffed in. If someone like you can become an idol, what kind of role model does that make for the audience? If someone like you can make 2.08 million a day, how can you face those who toil away in frontline jobs? Henry sobbed bitterly and swore he would never work as a prostitute again or scam people for money. Expressing satisfaction, I handed him 1 million. This was the sum I had pledged to him. I'm a woman of my word. As soon as he got the money, he stopped crying, but lingered around, dragging his feet and glancing back every few steps. Finally, just as he was about to cross the threshold, he asked me, "Big sis, you must have a man by your side to warm your heart, don't you?" I looked at Olivia outside the window, who was on the phone discussing a project. Her smile shone brighter and warmer than March's spring sunlight. I chuckled softly and replied, "Is a man even a necessity? Just an embellishment, a toy."